All right.
Well, that was a waste of time.
Good God.
There's the intro. All right.
Okay, so...
Less happiness.
Well, yeah, I have a lot less to say about this movie than the other one, because I...
This should have been better than it was.
It could have been better than it was, but this movie is so fucking pretentious.
Yeah.
It thinks it's so much smarter than it is, and it thinks it has so much more to say than it does. And even as the movie progresses and it does things that it thinks are emotionally affecting but are just kind of boring.
By the way, we're talking about Archive.
Oh yeah, Archive. Yeah, I'm assuming they saw the title of the review.
This was another fan request.
Yeah. I hope they don't get upset because we both fucking hated this movie.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even hate it as much as you did, but until like the last 10 seconds of the movie, and then I was like, "Fuck you, movie."
Well,
fuck you.
Like the rest of the movie is at the very best aggressively mediocre.
Yeah, for the most part, and like confusing. Doesn't really know what it's trying to do or what it wants to say, or hopping all over the goddamn place.
Yeah.
And then kind of lingers on plot points. Like, why are we wasting our time with this?
Yeah, it has very weird
priorities.
The sci-fi concepts that it's trying to explore are not well thought out. They're not well formed. It just comes up with an idea of like, what if a dude was trying to rebuild his dead wife's psyche through a computer AI and just has different iterations of it and like tries to build a better body for her, and it's very clearly just a woman with painted on lines.
Yeah, like it's very distracting how much it just looks like bad makeup towards the end.
It's really not effective.
It was, and I kept thinking, it's like, wow, how much I'd rather be watching Deus Ex than this.
Dude, I would have believed it more if it was just a woman with like some fairy lights taped to some parts of her face or something. Like just basic fucking practical effects rather than painting like android lines onto her. Like it was distractingly
bad.
And the dynamic between the main character and these iterations of his dead wife are weird, and he's really condescending and controlling and clearly doesn't even really care about the well-being of the AI.
Not particularly, no. And it's bizarre because even if you get through all of that, you get through all the other kind of stupid bullshit ideas this movie has, and then you're like, okay, where the fuck is this going? Which is what I was asking myself.
But then, don't forget the other side of it, which is him arguing with the authorities that have given him the resources to research this, right?
Yeah, and all of these pieces and all these different things. Yeah. And then you get to the very end, it's like, oh, that was completely meaningless.
Yeah.
None of it mattered at all.
It escalates, and by escalates, I mean very slowly and with very low stakes, because I don't care about this fucking guy.
The guy's like an actual monster.
Yeah, it is impossible to give a shit about this guy's storyline.
Like, I was wondering towards the end, like, am I supposed to think he's sickening, or am I supposed to be rooting for him? What am I supposed to be feeling about him?
Who is this for? What am I connecting to? And the closest I can come is thinking that this is for, like, really controlling men who just still love their wives in a terrible, unhealthy way, but don't care about their well-being in any way other than just, like, having them around for their own emotional fulfillment. And that's the only way to see this guy. That's what this guy is.
So it's for incels,
basically. And then like, I don't want to. The thing is, this movie is so bad that I don't really care about spoiling it. Although I know some people may be watching this, like wanting to not be spoiled and wanting to see for themselves. Like, oh, it's not that bad. It can't be that bad. And it's almost like how I feel about Suicide Squad now, where before it I was like, oh, it can't be that bad, and then I went and saw it and I'm like, holy shit, it's that bad. It's worse, actually. And it's like how I told my friends about Rise of Skywalker, and they're like, oh, he's just being dramatic, he has these reactions to movies, as y'all have seen. But no, it was that bad and worse. Like,
slight tangent on that. I keep seeing release the Ayer cut trending on Twitter, and I do not understand it.
Oh, God.
Because I keep thinking, like, guys, say what you will about Snyder, I can at least see the appeal. Have you watched any of Ayer's other movies?
Okay, the thing is that David Ayer has gone way downhill. I didn't even like Fury that much. I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I liked it
But-
more than you did at the time.
Yeah, but looking back on it now, you kind of see like, oh, this bears the same kind of weird,
Yeah.
bleak bullshit. Like it's
No,
not as good as we gave it credit for.
It is not held up to scrutiny.
No.
And long term is like, but like guys, Bright, tax collector.
Yeah, from the director of Bright and the Tax Collector comes his real vision of Suicide Squad. Like, no. So
that urban gangster flavor.
oh, fuck off. That's so bad.
obsessed with.
But well, I mean, that was his original flavor, and then the thing is, like, even now, looking back on movies like End of Watch and Street Kings, like, they were good for their time, but looking at them, like, it's almost like season 8 of Game of Thrones, where it kind of ruins the entire back catalog.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to watch the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones, even though they were really good, because it got ruined by where you saw it going. You're like, oh no, this was good because I had faith it was going somewhere. But it's not, because it wasn't.
Well, buddy,
Like,
you're going to be really disappointed because Tax Collector for sure is going to be my worst list this year.
I'm not going to be disappointed. I refuse to see it.
Okay. 'Cause
but-
I know last time we did the worst list, you like watched all the bad movies I had to just so to compare.
No, I watched the Disney movies. I watched the live-action Disney movies all in one day, and I
You
still
watched-
regret it.
We also watched the last, not Rocky.
Oh, yeah! Last Blood. Wow, Rambo Last Blood was interesting. What did he say at the end? Like, you ripped... No, what was it? You ripped my heart out. Now for you to see what it feels like, or something like that,
Something
before
like-
he just punches into the guy's chest and pulls his heart out.
Still beating hard.
And still be like, oh, it's just...
This is what it feels like.
yeah, it's, oh, God.
Anyway, tangent over.
Anyway,
back to Archive.
No, but high recommendation, do not watch the Lion King remake and the Aladdin remake and the Dumbo remake all in one day, because it really, it hurts your soul.
At least you saw the remake this year already.
Which,
Mulan.
oh, yeah, well, you know. But yeah, anyway, this movie is terrible. I don't care. This is all right.
Let's just
spoiler
spoil it.
alert.
Fuck it.
Spoiler alert.
We have to talk
Anyone
about
who
it.
for some reason wants to see this movie because it looks decent. I saw it because it was $1 to rent on Apple on iTunes for like a week or so, and I'm like, hey, why not? And the problem is, it also costs you a couple hours of your life, and you're not getting those back. And that $1 is not worth that couple of hours. In the very end of the movie, it turns out that he was the AI all along, and it's done in a sequence where like the people who were funding his project, who are threatening to pull the funding and are coming to arrest him because he's been abusing his funding and pursuing like illegal research, and as his AI wife is like screaming in pain from her fucking AI breaking down and all that shit, and she's trying to escape and he doesn't want her to escape. Like, he answers the phone and it's what he's like, hasn't he been talking on the phone to her throughout the movie? Like, all these... Yeah. So, and then his daughter comes and talks, and you find out that they, on the other side of the line, have actually been what you thought he was the whole movie, and he's the actual AI, and this is all a simulation, and his AI is actually breaking down, and they're going to finally let him go by essentially pulling the plug on whatever this project is and let his mind fade away into white. And this is done through a few lines on a phone call in the middle of what is supposed to be the climax of the movie, and then it fades to white and ends. It's like, haha, Jacob's Ladder situation, and then boom, you're done. There's no follow through. There's like
It's so stupid.
I was irritated.
I was like, I think I watched the credits roll by, thought about it for 2 seconds, and went, what was the point of that?
Yeah, no, it's an utterly pointless movie. It's not interesting. There's nothing to invest in. And at the end, it's like, haha, it was all a dream. And you feel cheated out of whatever time you spent on that experience.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
I really legitimately felt like I wasted 2 hours of my time. Because like none of that mattered. None of it was relevant.
Yeah.
None of it led to anything. Like,
I hated this movie.
Like, I don't think I question your pure disdain for it, but I fucking hate it too.
I don't. I hated it. I don't think my opinion is as bad as yours,
No, I said-
but I fucking hate it. What the fuck?
I didn't hate it as much. I still hate it. Because of,
How
like,
do you quantify that?
it's more like, because I wasn't like miserable for the entire 2 hours. Like, parts like, okay, there's an idea here. There's something you can work with here. It's like the idea itself is kind of interesting. And then
It
like,
could have been, but the
like-
character was so terrible.
oh, I agree. But I was interested in the concept to like follow it through, and then the ending just like retroactively made all of it terrible. And it's
I was bored throughout the movie. It had a hard time keeping my attention.
I was trying to figure out what it was trying to do with the concept.
Well, the problem is that the escalation of the concept just comes in repetitive conversations. Like, the conversations don't really change. It's just like, oh, this time it's just a little bit worse. And, oh, she's, like, questioning her existence. And he's like, it's fine. And then the older AI that's in the shitty robot is like, I'm not as good as she is. Deal with the insecurities of the claptrap robot. And, like, it's so pointless. I didn't care about any of it, and it was so poorly executed and poorly paced, and it dragged so long. And at the end, it was like, haha, look how clever I am, and I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Like, not only is it a stupid twist that retroactive makes the entire movie pointless, nothing that actually happens in the movie makes any goddamn sense because of it.
Yeah,
Like,
it
none
thinks
of it.
it's clever. It
Like-
really thinks it's clever, and it's incredibly stupid.
And it ends up saying absolutely nothing as a result.
Yeah.
Like, other than, hey, maybe putting deaf people on computers is a bad idea. That's,
Oh.
that's like the moral of the first Purge is, hey, maybe killing people in one night is a bad thing. Oh, gee.
Maybe murder is still bad even if it's legal. Maybe the law is there because there are racist people. Maybe the rich get away with murder anyway. This is preying on the poor and the veterans and the non-white people, and like, at least the sequels were fun.
The sequels were fun.
Election Year is still one of my favorite, like, so bad it's good movies.
Election Year was a lot of fun.
The
even the first Purge is pretty good, and I like that one. And like in the cheesy
still need to
kind of
watch
way.
it. Still need to watch it. But no, Election Year. My favorite scene is still the pendulum in the alleyway, where like there's a
I
good.
remember like, come on.
They're like trying to do that tense scene of like, all right, you got to time it properly, and there's like easily 5 to 10 seconds per swing of the pendulum,
Yeah.
and beyond that. Like, and they do the thing where, like, one character goes and they're like, oh, I made it. All right, you could do it. And they do this for, like, 4 or 5 characters, and it's, like, a scene of tension. But then the funniest thing about all of it to me is, like, there's a good 4-foot gap under the pendulum and swinging. Like, it all literally just crawl under it and be fine.
I think my favorite part of that is, like, the people that are around it that are, like, rooting for it to happen. Then when they get through, they go, all right, guys, have a good night.
Yeah. You win this time. Have fun, you crazy kids. It was just a little good time. I just imagine, like, the person who was walking through was like, oh, I wonder if I can... And then they walk through it and get murdered, and they're like, yeah! Well, the fucking dumbass that couldn't figure that out. Or the person who was smart enough to just crawl under it, and they're like, oh, shit.
Oh, we didn't think of that. George, why didn't we think of that?
I didn't...
man.
Why...
We were high when we designed this, man.
Yeah, right.
Like,
But anyway.
look, we had 30 minutes to set this up, okay? Flaws are gonna come up in the design.
I watch a different movie. This sucked.
Archive is a waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
With like an unlikable main character and insufferable supporting characters. The one I felt kind of bad for was like the 6-year-old robot. The one like R2D2's all over the place.
I couldn't care. I couldn't care less about this movie. You ever have that feeling when someone schedules a Zoom meeting with you for work, and then it could have been an email, but you end up going through this whole thing for the whole hour, and you give them the benefit of the doubt, and at the very end you realize it didn't need to happen, and somehow you've just been held prisoner to this presentation, and you can't yell at them, but you just want to fucking kick them in the throat for wasting your time like that, and you're just so bored. Like that's it's on par with that feeling.
Damn.
This movie could have been an email. That's it. Fuck Archive.
I'm kind of wondering what that email would look like. Like, so I got this idea for a movie, right? We have all these robots that are trying to make his guy's dead wife come back, right?
Incel, dead wife, Jacob's Ladder, movie.
Respond all no. Period.
Someone should have responded no to this movie. I'm just imagining the person who made this movie watching this and just getting their feelings really hurt throughout it. And I'm sorry, dude. I am. I don't like being mean to people, but maybe this isn't your thing.
So not only are we shitting on this man's movie, we are also simultaneously crushing their dreams.
I mean, this just like, what did you think you were doing, man? What is the point of this movie? Did you think this guy is worth rooting for? Like, what about this movie did you think was engaging? Do you understand pacing and stakes? Do you understand what twists are like or for? Like, what movies do you like? Like, do you enjoy the shitty M. Night Shyamalan movies? Was your movie of the year a couple years ago, like, Glass? Like, what is your deal? What do you think is good? Because this was not. And I understand if you had to make some compromises, but I don't, because you directed this guy to act this way. You made these decisions. You decided to shoot for something that needed a higher budget at this point of your career. You overshot. Focus on writing. Focus on writing. Don't do a twist ending. Make some good characters. Have them relate. Make you give a shit about them. Make them seem like people that you wouldn't want to kick out of your dinner party. Like, something. Do something that people would give a shit about. Not just like, ooh, high sci-fi. You're not there, buddy.
See, now I feel like we're just looking through, like, some 15-year-old's, like, photography album.
I wouldn't do it to a 15-year-old, because a 15-year-old isn't even at the point where they're given a budget to do something real.
Okay, 25-year-old.
How much of how many people's lives were wasted on this? Not including the audience.
I mean, the production team got paid. It's not a bad production design, so it's something.
I suppose. They got paid for it, sure.
If I'm being generous.
Got a check out of it.
Yeah.
But given the budget of this movie, was it that much of a check? Couldn't they have been helping make, like, an actual indie movie that needed some help? Yeah.
It's okay, buddy.
No.
Think about the wolves.
If this was a film school entry, I would be impressed with its ambition, but I would definitely think that the guy needed, like, he would need to bake for a few more years before he was ready to be, like, presented as a fully...
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
He's not a proper loaf of bread yet. Like, he needs a little more time. But just, like... Oh, my God. This is like someone who made a cake for a baking competition and accidentally used salt instead of sugar and did not taste it at any point in the cooking process. And that's why it turned out like this.
See, I'm just being quiet because I'm enjoying these metaphors you're
coming up with. You know me. I'm at my most entertaining when I'm fucking pissed off in a movie.
I think my favorite intro rant is just talking Ad Astra for like 20 straight minutes before you went...
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Because I've gone back to it and I've shown people, just like, you need to understand how angry this movie made me.
And then he turned to me, he's like, what did you think of it? I thought it was fine.
Like, no, you're wrong. And what's funny is throughout the course of it, you were like, oh, you're right. Oh, fuck. Like, by the end of the review, you still weren't as angry about it as I was, but you didn't like it as much as you did. You didn't give it as much of a pass as you initially did, because you were like, oh, you have some really good points about how bad this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway... Archive sucks.
Archive does suck.
Go back to film school, buddy.
Watch Wolfwalkers.
Read a good book. Read a book. How about that?
Watch Moon. That's like a better version of this concept.
Shitting on this guy. But yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Fuck your movie. Fuck your dreams. Fuck everything
Moon,
people wanted.
Watch Moon. Watch Ex Machina. Like, watch fucking anything about an AI, like, gaining sentience and the question of humanity and ethics within that construct. Like, any of that shit. Like, holy shit.
Ex Machina also has the benefit you get to see Oscar Isaac dance, so that's also a bonus.
Sure.
That's a bonus in any movie.
Yeah, so, yeah, no.
Yeah, fuck this movie.
Like and subscribe.
Bye!